Hello, everybody. Thank you for jumping on the Mortgage Mike Speaks podcast.
Yes, another edition. This is we are the Mortgage Mike Group.
Yeah,
I'm Mike, the mortgage and the Mike.
I'm Steven,
the mortgage.
Steven Salinas, loan officer with Mortgage Mike Group.
Right on.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're a new listener to the podcast, Steven and I, and actually Stefan on my team, we are the Mortgage Mike Group, and we are known for putting fun back into funded.
Yeah.
So actually,
absolutely.
we're corny. We're here to help our partners really just have fun while we're just doing business together. And honestly, it was just Steven and I are having lunch today. Just how can we just love on our clients really well, right?
Yeah.
In conjunction
in this market,
right? Yeah, which is really kind of tough.
It is a tough market.
Mhm.
Yeah. So so we get to, in fact, we got a great guest today, Christine Kalmbach.
Special guest.
With Keller Williams. We had the pleasure of closing on a transaction with you as a listing agent.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'll have to say it was one of the, I'm not sure the right word, Steven, because you got to go to the closing and I got to hear the story, but it was just such a great, I don't know if peaceful transaction is the right word.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think it was one of those transactions where everybody felt like this was like a really beautiful thing, whether it being the sellers moving on to their next stage of life, making their transition out of a house that they grew up with their kids in, all the way to, this new family that's moving into that home and getting to kind of step into those places where a lot of memories were had. I got to go to the closing and it was really, really awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christine, we'd love to kind of hear just, your story and to learn about like how you got into real estate, what drives you, and some of the things that you, value most, things that you kind of bring into your business and how it makes your business, different.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here today. I'm super excited to be here.
Absolutely.
I think that just to start off with, thank you. It was an excellent experience. And I can honestly say, and I think buyers and sellers can agree that not every transaction is smooth. And not every step seems to fall into place. And ours absolutely did. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. And the sellers were too. And it was very emotional, as Steven said, that they were ready to release their home to somebody that would love it and care for it the way that they did. And the buyers absolutely did. And it was just a great experience. And y'all made it very seamless and very smooth. So I super appreciate that. So
hey, it was fun.
It was.
It was fun.
It was. It was.
It absolutely was.
You put the fun in funded.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yes, there it is.
I was throwing it out to Steven.
So good.
I have a hashtag too, so it's okay.
What's your hashtag?
It's hashtag call on Christine.
Oh, I love it.
So whatever you need, hashtag.
We'll put that in the description.
Right on.
We'll put the hashtag in there.
Thank you.
Cool.
So I've been in real estate full time almost about 4 years.
Okay.
And I'm with Keller Williams Platinum. We're in Northwest Houston. Of course, we work all over Houston, in the 10 county region. That's har.com. But we have just a really great culture at our organization and love being a part of that. In fact, I knew years ago before I even became a realtor that if I did go into real estate, I was going to go to Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Just love their values of God, family, work.
Yes.
And our brokerage definitely exemplifies that. And so I actually met with our broker on record back in 2012 and interviewed with her and just loved it and knew that I was just going to eventually end at Keller Williams Platinum. So
great.
And my mentor had been in real estate, and it had been a second career choice for her. She had been a stay-at-home mom and very similar for me. And she had gone into work at Keller Williams Platinum. And so when I interviewed with her, I said, I know this is where I want to come. She's my mentor, love her. And at the time, I was still my youngest was in 7th grade. And so I thought she asked me, what are you looking to do? Are you wanting to do this full-time, part-time? And I was like, oh, part-time, because I still have some kids in school and there's that pull of trying to balance
Yeah.
everything that the kids need during
Yeah.
that time. And then what the work demands, right? I mean, we don't keep regular hours.
Mhm.
As y'all know, I know you don't either. You respond to me on the weekends. And so basically, after consulting with her, she said, if you want to be successful in real estate, you need to do it full time. Give it your passion, your energy,
Yeah.
the concentration it deserves.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
realizing that wasn't quite where I was, she encouraged me to wait. And so I did. And it was hard. It was hard to
Yeah.
do that because I thought, oh, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to do it part time. And
Mhm.
but you know, you seek wise counsel, right? With many advisors, one succeeds, as it says in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so
Amen.
I talked to her, talked to my husband, you know, talked to God, and decided, you know, I'm going to wait. And
Mhm.
so timing worked out, and joined about 6 years later with the company.
So good.
So number one, the broker of record at Keller Williams Northwest is very wise in
Yes.
giving that counsel, because the truth is there's a line of brokerages waiting to take anybody, and they don't care what it is as long as you hang the shingle with them.
That's right.
And she took the time to hear you and be truthful, because the truth is it's not a part-time job.
Yeah.
It is a full-time job.
Yes.
And you can't do it part-time. It's impossible. So that was very brave of her to just jump out there. I don't know if brave's the right word, but it's not the standard
Right.
for sure in your industry, and probably in mine for that matter.
Mhm.
Just to give you real constructive advice that helped set you up for today.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was hard to hear. It wasn't what I wanted to hear because I was kind of ready to
Right.
jump in.
What do you mean I don't?
Wait a
Everybody wants
second.
me to come on board.
Wait, I'm taking my classes. Everybody's been asking me to join.
Right.
You know? And
Yeah.
So it was that. And it was that this is not God's timing. And,
Mm.
and then receiving that, and then just concentrating on that. And then as my son was getting ready to graduate, I was like, okay, I got a few classes I need to finish. And so I did,
Mhm.
and took the test and passed both parts, national and state. And
Great.
2 weeks later was at Keller Williams. So
Wow.
it was very
Wow.
exciting.
So
That's great.
Was there where was that moment, if it existed? Like, was there a moment where you were like, it's time? Like the call
Or
was
the
apparent.
yes.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the yes. Then, you know.
So I was working towards it, finishing up my classes in March of 2018. And then my dad fell ill
Mhm.
in May. And there was a real struggle there. My son was finishing up his senior year. There's all this stuff that's going on in May. You know how crazy
Oh,
May
yeah.
is with all school events and everything like
Mhm.
that. And so they had called in hospice for my dad, but that could be a day, that could
Mhm.
be months, or even a year. You know, it's really hard to tell when a person makes that transition. And so it was really hard. I mean, we got the call, I think it was Monday, that my dad was going into hospice. And then it was basically about a week later, literally the day before my son graduated, he passed away. So that
Wow.
was really, really hard.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
trying to make the logistics of getting our family up there to Michigan is where my family is from. And so it was really hard. And I got the chance to pray over my dad and talk to him. My stepmom helped with that. And it just all of a sudden became very apparent it was going to be happening more quickly than we thought. And we didn't really have time to respond to it. So that was hard. But we had been talking about it. I was so blessed to have a great relationship with my dad and
Mhm.
loved him very much. And so we were able to get through my son's graduation the next day. And then we went up to Michigan, and I got to speak at his funeral about him. And so it was
Wow.
a very special time to be with family and friends. It was bittersweet.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
bittersweet. My stepmom had done an amazing job caring and loving on my dad. And so she's an angel on earth.
Right
and
on.
so we were super grateful that in my dad's final years that he had such love and care.
Mhm.
And so it was really just from a heart of gratefulness and
Yeah.
love to be able to go up there and to pay honor to him, and to be able to hug and love on her.
Yeah.
She was, you know, she's caregiver
Oh
for
my
him
gosh, for
24/7.
sure.
And when you've had that in your life and then it stops so abruptly,
Mhm.
it's a really big transition.
Mhm.
And she still misses him, and I do too. It just, he's in a better place. He's not
Right.
suffering anymore, but it's still hard to say goodbye to someone you love and who's always been a part of your life, and then they're not there anymore. So yeah, so that had happened. And so I decided at that point, I was just going to take the summer off. My son had graduated. We're going to just do family things and celebrate his graduation and spend time together as a family as much as we can. And so I knew in August he was transitioning to college. And so I decided I'd take the exam in August. And then lo and behold, all of the testing sites in Houston were full because so many people are trying to get the real estate license.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going to Huntsville to take the test. So
Wow.
I went up there, and then 2 weeks later I was at Keller Williams and started their training. So
Wow.
that's kind of how I transitioned into it. But in September, I was full on and ready and 110% able to give my attention to it. And so as my son was starting his freshman year, I was starting my second career.
Right on.
Wow.
Right
That's really like the fact that you listened to that counsel and waited, getting to hear about you and hear about the business that you do, I see that it was like worth it.
Absolutely.
And you were able to do things now with like to be more intentional.
Yes.
You weren't kind of just half in, you were fully, like you said, 110%.
Yeah.
Looking back, like receiving that advice, was there anything that you feel like you've learned like within these last couple of years that you wouldn't have been able to learn without waiting?
So I think it just has taught me that I really need to be in tune with the spirit when I'm helping my clients, when I'm listening to what their story is, what their life story is, what their goals are. People that are selling have reasons that they're selling, and some of them are joyous. It's a first time home, or they're moving up, or they're downsizing because they want to simplify their life. And so it's really trying to listen to them and what their ultimate goals are. And on the buy side, it's the same thing. Are they buying because they're a first-time home buyer, and there's a set of blessings and challenges that go with that?
Right.
Are they moving up? Are they getting a second home? So there's different reasons that people have, and it's about life. It's about their experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's just being a good listener. And I get super excited when I help people. And so sometimes I'm a little gung-ho and like, yeah, let's do this.
That's
but
great.
I also take a breath and I stop, breathe and pray, and just ask for the Holy Spirit to guide me and how's the best way to help them. And sometimes it's not selling their home. It may be refinancing, or it may be not now.
Wow.
Or it may be you do need to sell now. I had one client that was a widow, and she needed to sell her home, and there were some challenges in the physicality, the location of the home. And so this was the fall, and she's like, I don't know if I should sell now. I have this offer. Should I wait till the spring when the market is busier and there's more buyers? And I said, that is a great question. Number one, we don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
Number two, the things that are a challenge with your house, they're not going to change from now till the spring. You're still going to have this in your backyard that won't go away. And so, I gave her all the information that I could, and I let her make that decision. That's my job, is to be a counsel and a help, but to let them make that decision. And I've had clients tell me, no, Christine, you tell me what to do. And I said, I can't tell you what to do. I can give you the information, I can give you tools, but ultimately you make that decision. And so the appraisal had come in low on her house, which was very disappointing. And so she was trying to determine, do I wait and put it on the market in the spring when I could possibly get more money, more buyers? And ultimately she decided to go ahead and sell to that family. And 5 months later, COVID happened.
Wow.
So if she'd waited till March when the bottom was dropping out from COVID, and basically the whole United States shut down. And literally we had 6 weeks where nobody was doing anything because we were all petrified because we didn't know what this disease was and what it was going to bring. And people stopped buying, people stopped selling, everything kind of put the brakes on. And so that's the market she would have been trying to sell in at that point.
Wow.
And she called me crying and she said, Christine, I'm so glad that you gave me the advice that you did, because now I know with what I see that's going on, I would have been so stressed out. I don't even know if my house would have sold at that point, and what would have happened. And I said, God has a plan. We just have to be obedient to it and listen to that. And then, of course, 6 weeks later, things did open back up again, and people then decided that, hey, I want a house that has this because of COVID, and I might be commuting from home, and people
Yeah.
started readjusting their priorities
Mhm.
and stuff. But to hear her say that, and we cried and we prayed on the phone together and just said, you made
Yeah.
the right decision, and I feel like that was interesting. Oh, I have no doubt that it was the right decision, and it was.
Wow.
And so, and people are even saying right now, gosh, rates are 5.5%. Should I buy? And I was like, this is really still historically low.
Right.
I remember in 1980 when my aunt was crying because she was trying to get approved for a mortgage at 14.25%. And I didn't even understand what that was. I was a kid, but I saw my aunt crying on the bed, and it made an impression on me. And so to have the low rates that we've had for the last 10 years has kind of spoiled people into thinking.
For sure.
They're so low, I can't go up now. Now, obviously, it has shifted some people's priorities and payments and what they're able to afford, but there's still activity, there's still movement, there's still homes that they can get into.
For sure.
And so my encouragement has been, talk to your mortgage people and see what you're going to have to bring for closing, what kind of payments you're going to be able to make.
What do we need to adjust?
Yes, what do we need to adjust? For sure.
We're refreshing pre-approvals, people that we talk to in January, February, March,
touch
April.
Base,
it's like, let's just talk about some things, just to make sure we're still in alignment, because maybe that $2,000 a month payment budget at a $250,000 home, right, is beginning to change.
It is.
And we've got to figure out, do we have room to take them? Do you have room to go higher in your budget to accommodate the home they're looking for? And that's been it's been an interesting challenge. And I will echo the idea that the average interest rate over the last 50 years is almost 8%.
Yeah.
So an interest rate in the 5s is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And then not only that, where inflation is running 8%, we're below inflation.
Yeah.
So it's still I think it's just a mindset. Oh, rates are high. Not really. And what is it in context to? And that's just helping our clients just educate them on that, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, this is not a bad time to buy. It's a great time to buy.
Right.
And we're telling our clients, just like, you don't buy a home because of interest rate. You're buying the home because it's an investment in the future, an investment in your family. And then those pay dividends down the line. This isn't about what your interest rate is at all. That's not why you're buying the house.
And people, as their priorities have shifted, what they want in the house has changed. And so they're looking at those things, and, I'm here to help guide them through that and those priorities. Like I have a first time home buyer, and she liked the fact that this one house had no back neighbors, but it backed up to a busy street. And so, you look at it, say, okay, the benefit to this is no back neighbors. However, you have traffic constantly driving by here. And is that something that you're going to be comfortable with when you're in the backyard with your family? And sometimes a house is where it is. You can't move the house.
Right.
So you have to decide what's the priority. Is it, can I deal with that? But also be thinking about resale and what buyers are going to be looking for in the future, because at some point you may have to sell.
Yeah.
And so you want to keep that in the back of your mind. And so I'm always challenging buyers with looking at those types of things that are going to hopefully yield them the best amenities and the best location that makes sense for their family with what the home has. So
that's great.
Yeah. So I try to listen and help them discover through the process, because it is a process, right? Everything's a process. Yeah. And so through going through that process with them, not only interviewing them, but continuing to revisit on these are the things that you told me when we first got together, and you said this was what was important, and is that still the case? Right. And if it's not, let's adjust and reprioritize.
Yeah. That's really great. I love that you were just talking about, like, taking a step back and, like seeking wise counsel, seeking the Lord, just trying to just make the best, help give the best advice to your clients. It shows that, like, you have love for your clients. And you also want to work with people that also have, like, love for their clients. Absolutely. Like, that's one thing that we were talking about, is, like, wouldn't it be an amazing world if we could all work, like, if we could work with people that cared for the people that they were serving, Yes. And it's surprising. I mean, with this, with this industry, people can get very busy and get swept up in the busyness, or just kind of lose the people and lose the whole loving and serving your clients. And then you're just like, you don't give good advice whenever you think like that. You know, you start telling them like, don't wait, do it now because you want it to close, or, you know, maybe that wouldn't be the best decision for them.
Right.
You know, leading with like love and respect, it goes a long way.
It
Like
does.
that story of like the person that you helped that called you back later to tell you and thank you for, you know, giving me options and giving me wise counsel. Those are the amazing things that drive you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's all about relationship, right?
Uh-huh.
Who you associate with is who you become. And
Yeah.
so it's trying to get as trained and as knowledgeable as I can so I can share that with my clients. And then it's being an advocate for them, and it's defending them and helping them and helping, but also helping it to be a win-win for both families, right?
Yeah.
Both families are impacted by this, you know, whether they're selling or buying, and it's working together with all parties. And so a lot of times when I'm the listing agent, I'll call up the buyer's agent and want to talk to them and have a conversation, because we get so mechanized sometimes, I think, where we're just sending over an offer and, you know, it has the logistics, it has the detail, but I'm talking about working with you. And I'm talking about, this is the expectation. I want it to be a smooth, seamless process.
Yeah.
I'm super responsive. I want you to be super responsive. That's something we owe our clients. And so I just feel that that's just the way to operate. But the love absolutely is the underlying theme to all of that. And, you know, it's from my faith. That's how I live my life.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I don't help a client or I don't represent them. And it may be because the timing's not right, or that things have changed, priorities have changed, and goals have shifted. And so it is being in tune with what is going on and what they need, and hearing behind, you know, what the concern is, and trying to address that and alleviate any fears that they have. There is a lot of fear out there.
Absolutely.
With people just not knowing how to do the process, and then who they're working with, they want to be able to trust. They want to know that you have their best, the best advice for them, that you are going to be that advocate for them and guide them with that. And so I had a first-time home buyer, and we looked at his income and everything, and come to find out he had not had him because he was a contract employee, and so he needed more time on the job in order to have that history that the mortgage company needed. And so I told him, we're going to wait. We're going to put the brakes on this for about 6 months. And so he was like, oh, okay. He was really bummed out, and I was bummed out for him, but I said, we'll wait and see. And then that was August. And then in February, we picked up and started looking at things in the area he wanted to be in. The prices had gone up. So that was a big bummer. And so he was like, I don't even know if I'm able to get anything in this area. And I said, well, let's keep looking and praying and figuring it out. And maybe something that is going to be a fixer-upper. And so we happened to find actually a brand new build, and it had fallen through with the people who were buying it. And we went in, and he applied and got accepted and ended up closing on it. And he was just floored, and it was underneath his threshold of what he was wanting. And so he was just so super excited, and
that's great.
And he really wanted something he wasn't going to have to do work to. So the new build filled that need.
Under the price point.
It is.
In his budget.
Yeah. And
that's
so
amazing.
He was floored. He's like, I'm closing on a new house. This is incredible. So it's trying to figure out those solutions, right? Trying to, just like you have different products for different people, it's trying to figure out, okay, if this isn't working, where can we adjust? Area, your criteria, are we going to have to give up that 4th bedroom? You know, what do those things look like in order to get you into what you need?
Well, we look through the lens of every buyer or every client that comes to us is a buyer at some point. So our job is just to guide them. So it may be 6 months from now, because you got contracted income that we need 2 years history on a tax return to support. And we're almost at the end of the year. So get your tax returns filed, and then we'll get you into a place. Or it could be, you know, we really got to save some money. Here's our benchmark for it. When do you think you can save to that? And let us walk with you in that capacity until you're ready. Right. So looking at, if God delivers us a client, then our job is to pour into them our professional experience and knowledge and guide them into that space when the time is right.
Absolutely.
And not on my time,
Right.
not on your time, right?
Right.
Really, and that timing that God puts before us and says, okay, now it's the time. I brought them to you because they need help,
Right.
but today's not the day.
And I always encourage people to do something sooner rather than later as far as finding that process. Not that it's going to happen right now,
Right.
but you need to find a realtor. You need to find a great mortgage company. And a lot of times realtors have relationships with great mortgage companies. And so when they're in that process, they're thinking about it, they need to get a hold of a realtor and they need to find a reliable lender who's going to be professional, who's going to give them all the information that they need, be very transparent, on what's required for consideration of approval. And then it's working together with that because it is super competitive out there right now. And we're trying to win an offer, for a buyer. And when we do that, I go all out. I'm not going to say everything that I do, but I go all out to present the offer in the best light possible. And that's partnering with somebody like y'all to piggyback on what I'm sharing with the seller, and then y'all partnering with us on that and getting that information out there to them, because it's the conversations and the connections that make the difference. And when people, my encouragement is if you don't have a connection with a realtor or a mortgage company, is that you get those two things knocked out, because knowledge is power. And then you can figure out if I need this or this, get that in place first, or get that timing worked out so that when I am ready, I'm ready to go. Because when you have somebody that comes to an open house and they're like, oh, I really like this house, I want to buy it. And it's like, you realize it's Sunday afternoon. We've been on the market for 2 days and we have 10 offers. Of course, I don't tell them how many offers they have, but we're in a multi-offer situation. And so you need to get pre-approved right away. And people I think don't realize y'all can issue pre-approvals pretty quickly.
We can.
And so with that, then you're in a position of power. When you've got that pre-approval and you can get approved for the price of that home, then you're in a position of power to bring that offer and hopefully win that offer.
Encouragement. That was what we were talking about at lunch today.
Encouragement.
Wouldn't it and it just the partnership and working together with our clients, encouraging each other along the way, right? Wherever we are, encouraging the client that's gone through 5 or 6 offers that they just haven't stuck yet, but having the compassion to encourage them in their journey. Like, it's not time to give up.
Right.
The home, we're going to pray through it because the right home is out there.
Right.
We just closed on a great friends of ours and who closed last week.
Congratulations.
And their struggle was, their price point was pretty tight. And just praying through with them and saying, the Lord's going to bring the right house at the right time. And we're just going to prepare our hearts for that. And lo and behold, he did. And it was after lots of other offers that didn't take.
We encouraged them.
We encouraged them. And the beauty of it all is that in the midst of it, like, they found the house, the seller did all of this extra work that really needed to happen that could not be absorbed into financing at all. Right. We couldn't deal with it in any way. But they got all this work that would have cost them a lot of money that they really didn't have post-closing. And they were able to get the home in the neighborhood, the repair work done, everything. And just that act of faith, right? Just like, okay, don't force it. We're going to allow it. And then just us coming around and just encouraging them and that walk to that new home. So
that's exciting.
It's very exciting.
It is. And, and it's listening to the sellers and to your buyers and just working with them and explaining the process and, the risk and the benefits of, putting an offer out there and what that looks like. It could get accepted, it could get rejected. And to realize that if it does get rejected, it means no, not right now on that one. But you may be able to tweak that or find another home.
Right.
And so it's, it's my encouragement would be not to give up, not to quit. Right. Be patient.
Especially in today's market.
Absolutely. Because there is a shortage of houses. There's more buyers than houses. And a lot of people are moving to Texas.
I don't think the shortage is going away anytime soon.
It's not. And what you're seeing, at least what I'm seeing with the experience that I've had, buyers are paying above what houses are worth, and they're just making up the difference. And so everybody's not able to do that, but there's still opportunities for those who don't have a lot of money to put down to buy homes.
Right.
And to find those options that are out there. And with a good realtor and a good mortgage company, you're going to be able to get something.
Right on.
And now the timing,
Yeah.
that's not in our control. But there are things that we can do, a good agent, a good mortgage company can do to help a buyer in that situation for sure.
Yeah, I think some of the things that we can do to help, because we're always thinking about, hey, how can we encourage? Who's the next person that we can encourage? You know, we're always looking for opportunities to, you know, build a bridge, you know, to, you know, whether it being calling a listing agent to introduce ourselves, to say, hey, this is how the transaction is going to work, or, you know, talking to the borrower and asking them, hey, what's prompting your move? You know, and getting to celebrate. Oh, wow, awesome, you're starting a family. That's so cool. You know, we get to talk about things like that. You know, there's always opportunities that we can encourage. You know, we're not trying to, you know, be like this hands off, and, you know, we want to be able to answer the phone, and, you know, we want to be approachable and give that good advice. And
and I think the hands open.
Hands open is really good.
The hands open, right? It's like, it's not if we get the focus, and just talked about this morning, it's like, if I put the focus on the money that I make, then I've lost focus.
Absolutely.
Right. It's like,
all day long.
This isn't and you don't do that.
And people that do that don't last long.
Right.
Because people see through that. And, you know, I feel like you do. And that's one of the reasons we have the relationship we do, is because we truly see this as a calling on our lives.
Yes.
We see this as a blessing. And we see that we have wisdom and advisors, and we have people that come alongside of us and walk through this with us to help us to serve in that spirit of love, but also as a counsel and as you said, the encourager, because it's, for a lot of people, when it's their first time, or even if it's their third or fourth transaction, they're still looking for someone to be their advocate. They're still looking for someone that's going to educate them every step of the way. And what does this mean? When I just got this, what does this mean? And you're helping them. You're helping them with that, to understand, you know, we have to get through inspections, and we have to get through that appraisal. And if it doesn't meet the criteria here, what do we do, and what those options are, and to really show them there are options in those situations. Right. And we do our best to work it out with everybody to make it happen. You want to buy the house, they want to sell the house. Let's make this happen. What can we do to work together to make everybody feel like, okay, I might not get everything I want, but in the end, I feel like the service was there. I feel like the excellence was there. I feel like the attention to detail was there, and the communication was there. You don't always get that from everybody.
Those are the ways that we can communicate that we care.
Yes.
You know, that's what we always want to try to, like, how do we communicate that we truly do care about this client, you know, because it's like they're your clients, and, you know, they're our clients too.
Right.
You know, it's not just, we're not this just giant bank that just has this money that they're just a stamp of approval or not. It's like, you know, there's real people. It's encouraging to me just to know there are people out there that are doing it too.
Yes.
You know, we don't have to do things the wrong way to win.
Right.
You know, everybody can win.
Absolutely.
And everybody can benefit from the transaction at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And with our eyes focused on him, right? How do we just bring honor and glory in the midst of all of this?
That's right.
So
I always ask my clients if I can pray with them, you know, throughout the process, because I just believe my faith is the bedrock of how I exist and what I believe. And I share that with them, and all of them have been open to me sharing about, let's invite God into this situation, and let's figure this out together. And I feel like it helps me, it grounds me, it helps me to service them and to be that guide and that helpmate to get them to where they want to be.
Yeah.
And showing them that, whether it's the timing or there's a technical issue, and there will be hiccups along the way
Right.
sometimes, and that's not uncommon.
Mhm.
But through that, with us talking about it, discerning, praying over it, I feel like we can overcome any obstacle that we come across,
Yeah.
and that they feel open to that. I had one client joke with me. She was a first-time home buyer, and they were looking at these homes in this one community, and it's like, okay, those aren't double pane windows. You'll have to update them at some point. Just be aware.
Yeah.
And she said, I'll never look at windows the same way again, ever again, everywhere that they looked and stuff. So it was pretty funny, but it was like, I'm just trying to guide and counsel. And, again, but they make that decision. But
Mhm.
I'm going to give them all the information that I can and be as transparent as possible so that when they do make that decision, they feel good about it and feel confident about it.
Absolutely.
I hear, Christine, you bring hope, the light of hope.
Oh, thank you.
You do. You really do. And I think, isn't that what we're all looking for anyway,
Yes.
in the end?
Yeah.
Right? And just that comfort, that hope. Okay, it's going to be okay.
Yes.
Things are going to work out right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so refreshing. So
Well,
refreshing.
and it really does matter who you work with.
Mhm.
I just can't
Yeah, it's
stress
so true.
that enough. People, are looking for insurance information. They're looking for handymen. They're looking for that mortgage lender. And so knowing people in doing business with them, I don't take referrals, paid referrals, except from other realtors. But the reason is because I believe in people.
Right.
And so I want to be able to freely recommend several choices to them,
Mhm.
and then them be able to make that decision on who they want to work with.
Mhm.
But I do that because I want them to know it's people that I know personally and that I trust,
Yeah.
and that they're going to get the level of excellence and quality that they deserve.
Mhm.
And so I do try to paint that picture of hope to each person that I work with, because it can be scary to navigate the home buying process or even selling. And every buyer is unique, every seller is unique, and every home is unique. And so there will never be a transaction like that ever again.
So
And
true.
so
Yes.
it's listening in that situation and then giving them all the information possible and communicating. Some people joke with me that I over communicate sometimes. And I said, I'd rather
No.
have you think I'm communicating
Never.
too much with
Yeah.
you
Never.
than not getting enough information
Right.
to you so you can make that informed decision. And even then, it's that leap of faith, right? Because I have the analytical people that I help, and they want all this data and the
Mhm.
numbers and everything, and yet it's a leap of faith to
Mhm.
make that offer. It's a leap of faith to receive that offer and take it. And so it's just trying to provide that information, and then again, giving them that ability to make that decision and feel mostly good about it or feel confident. I think
Yeah.
this is the direction we need to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Wow.
That's great.
Wow.
Well, I think one thing to take away for the listeners, there is hope in this crazy
Yeah.
market.
Yes.
It matters who you work with. So if you don't have a realtor, talk to Christine. We can say so many great things about her, what she does.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you. And I feel the same about y'all. Just the transaction that we had, both families are amazing. And you could tell from every step, from the communication with their agent, and the communication back and forth and the steps that you go through to buy a home, from the negotiations to the inspection, to the appraisal, to the final mortgage approval, which are all critical steps that
Right.
have to happen in order to close on that home.
Mhm.
It was very smooth and seamless. And so I want to thank y'all for
Absolutely.
the excellence that you provide, and say that if you go with Mike and his team, you're going to be taken care of. You are going to be loved on. You are going to be watched over, and they're going to follow through with you every step of the way. I got weekly updates on the process as we went through it, and I would just forward them to my sellers, and my sellers were like, gosh, this is incredible. I was like, this is not normal. This is not what you get from a lot of mortgage companies that are
That's
out
so
there.
true.
And so I really appreciate the level of professionalism and care and love and detail that y'all have. And so thank you for recommending me. And the feeling is definitely mutual. And so we're looking forward to working together on more
Yeah.
transactions.
Absolutely.
So if anyone is looking for a
2022.
mortgage company,
Let's do it.
here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Guys,
Right.
thanks so much for
Yeah.
listening. If you have any questions, or you want to come on to the podcast, give us a call. You know,
Yeah.
we like to share these stories because I think there's always something that we can learn, and just there's a golden nugget in there that we can just take and apply.
Yeah, something you can just drop in wherever that is in your work and your business and what you do. Hey, if you like what you hear, review, like, subscribe, share,
everything.
What are all those things are that you have to do? You know, something down here, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We would love that. Yeah. Hit the button.
Yeah.
Give us this. Yeah. So awesome. We will see y'all on the next edition of the Mortgage Mike Speaks podcast.
All right.
All right.
Later.